Welcome back to FNL Fridays on the FNL Health channel. I'm your host, Teresa. If we haven't met before, I am a personal trainer, an entrepreneur, an author, and also a healthy lifestyle coach, as well as creator of the FNL Journal. So, welcome. Thank you for being here. This is our second episode, and today I want to talk about why FNL. So FNL, fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle. So why is this the topic of my page, and why am I so passionate about it? Starting with my story, personally, I got really involved in fitness. Really from a young age. I was a cheerleader, I was a dancer, I played field hockey, and then once I went to college, I was terrified of the freshman 15, so I made sure to start going to the gym, and that was kind of new to me. I was a little bit overweight in high school, and so I decided in college I didn't want to be, the statistic, and so I started to go to the gym pretty much every day, and I also started to clean up what I was eating, and lo and behold, I actually lost like 20 pounds, which wasn't even necessarily my goal. I just didn't want to gain a bunch of weight because, in college you party and you eat shit most of the time. So I didn't want that to be me. So in college, I started getting into the gym, and very slightly I started to get into weightlifting. I didn't really know what I was doing, but, I'd pick up the 10s or the 15s and do some bicep curls and then go do my cardio. So that's where I kind of got started. And then after I moved into my professional career, I realized that I was not really feeling it. And I, at the time, had a personal trainer. And the reason that I hired that personal trainer was because I wanted to just get in better shape. And I figured, well, who better to help me than someone who that is their job, right? To help me get in shape, to tell me what to do, and to teach me. So with that personal trainer, actually two of them, I learned so much. I started getting really into bodybuilding and weightlifting, so lifting heavy weight and building muscle on my body, and getting really interested in watching my body change, and also really cleaning up my diet. So, my diet wasn't terrible, but it wasn't really that great either at the time. So I started learning about meal prepping, and I started learning about macronutrients, and that made a huge difference in how my body changed, but also how I viewed food and how I felt about my health. So fitness and nutrition have been very important to me, especially in the last 6 or 7 years. And as I mentioned before, I am a personal trainer. So a few years after that, I decided to become a personal trainer because I got so involved in it and I just loved it. And I knew that I wanted fitness to be a huge part of my life. So I figured, why not just make that my career? Fitness and nutrition are super important to me personally, but along the same lines, I also, during that time, I developed a lot of eating disorders, multiple eating disorders, mostly orthorexia, which is an obsession with like only eating healthy food. So I was terrified of anything processed. I wouldn't allow myself to buy it. If I did, a lot of times I would throw it in the trash before I could eat it. Occasionally bulimia. So if I ate too much at a buffet or something, or even at home, occasionally I would throw up. And I also had severe binge eating disorder. So I was binging probably 4 or 5 days a week, like every single week. And if you're not familiar with what binge eating is, that's when you basically stuff your face very, very quickly. It's not a rational place that you're in mentally, and it's a lot of times it comes from depriving yourself of food. So dieting essentially is what caused that. So I was so restrictive with the food that I was eating that once I would allow myself just a little taste, that taste would turn into the entire box or the entire carton, so that happened, and that went on for years. And along the same lines, I had those physical nutritional issues, and I also lost all my confidence. I lost all my self-esteem. I felt like a failure every day, basically, because I couldn't eat perfectly and my body didn't look the way that I thought it should. and my relationship suffered. I thought my fiance was going to leave me. I had to go to therapy for that, and I chose to go to therapy for that. And my social life suffered. I would turn down invites a lot because I was afraid of what food would be there, and I knew that I wouldn't be able to control myself. So I wouldn't go to parties, or if I did, I would try to, eat a bunch of carrots right before, or, low calorie foods, a bunch of strawberries or salsa, rice cakes, staple diet foods. And it was just a terribly mentally unhealthy place. I had anxiety and depression, and I was miserable. I basically just hated my life. And I guess this all doesn't really sound good for me saying why fitness and nutrition is so important to me, but I went through that really terrible dark time, which led me to where I am now, which is so much more balanced. I still have the things that I struggle with, but I can proudly say that I no longer have any eating disorders. My confidence is much higher than it used to be. My relationship is much stronger than it used to be. I'm not constantly crying about failing. And I don't let food and my body rule my life anymore, which sounds, probably to a lot of people sounds like duh, but to a lot of us, maybe you might know what that feels like. If you are stuck in a diet mentality, you're stuck in this idea that, your body defines your worth, and you have to eat perfectly all the time, and you can't control yourself around food. And those are really, really difficult beliefs to get out of. So that being said, the positive side that I experienced from fitness and nutrition, now that I've moved through that negative period, it's invaluable. And I believe that every single person out there in some way should be implementing fitness and movement, should be caring about what they're putting into their body and knowing why it's important, what you're putting into your body. So not only just eating healthy, but knowing what you're eating and why you're eating it and what that does for your body and how that helps you and how that affects your mood and your performance and your overall longevity. And then, of course, lifestyle, your relationships, how you talk to yourself, how you think about yourself, your spiritual or religious practices, self-development, your overall habits, if you are just taking care of your overall well-being and trying to balance all aspects of your life so that everything is in a good place. Now, I know that that's not always realistic, right? We can't be 100% everywhere at all times, but my goal is to help you learn the basics about fitness and nutrition and how to live a healthy lifestyle so that you can use those tips and tricks and advice to upgrade your life in different areas wherever you might need it. Fitness is so important to all of us because, for one, it's good for our body, right? We all know that exercising decreases our mortality rate, right? So it helps us live longer, and it helps us counteract chronic conditions. So, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, all those fun things. It helps us keep those away. And some of those, if you have them, you can actually reverse them or negate some of their effects by exercising. And not to mention, especially as we age, our bone density decreases. That's why you see a lot of broken bones in older people. So if you're adding in weightlifting and resistance training, it actually increases your bone density. So you're protecting your bones. It's not all just about muscles and body fat, right? Your cardiorespiratory health, right? So your endurance, being able to run, being able to hike, being able to swim, things that really demand a lot of your lungs and your heart. Exercise helps those as well. So fitness will always be a part of my life. I will always preach it. I will always recommend it to everybody. And I hope that the things that I share on this channel will help you start to see why it really is so truly important. And I want you to remember that fitness looks different for everybody. So if you are not into weightlifting, fine. I mean, I do recommend it, but that's fine. If you hate cardio, fine. But if you love going for hikes, or if you love just running around with your kids, or if you love CrossFit, whatever works for you, do it up, because that's what you want. You want long-term lifestyle change that works for you. That's why it is lifestyle, right? It is not a temporary thing. Nutrition is really important, not only for our physical health, but our mental health as well. So of course we know that everything we eat affects our body, right? How we perform, and if we gain or lose weight, and the amount of muscle we have on our body. But what you may not know is that nutrition also affects your mood. There are plenty of studies and evidence out there that shows that, certain foods affect our hormones and our mental health in ways that, you might not be aware of. So it's really important to make that connection, because a lot of us, we deal with depression or anxiety or really high stress levels, and our food might be a part of that issue, and it can also be used to help solve some of those problems. So keeping in mind that nutrition is not just about your physical body. It is so much more than that. Thinking of our health and our wellness, our physical and our mental health, as a very well-rounded entity. There's so much that goes into it, and it is all tied together. When I refer to lifestyle, that includes things like relationships with ourselves and with others, our mental health, so self-care practices, spiritual, religious, self-development, all of those things that just make us feel good from the inside. Also our overall habits, right? So our sleep patterns, if you use any substances, is that an issue? Is it doing good things for you, or is it negatively affecting you? Even that sense of purpose, vision, fulfillment from life, right? I know that when I was in my 20s, I went through some serious, what is life? What am I doing with my life situations, the quarter life crisis, right? And you've probably been through that too, and that's totally normal. But what I have found is, when people talk about your passion or, your purpose, one of the quotes that I heard that I just loved, and it made me feel so much better, is you don't find your passion or find your purpose, you develop it. So it's almost like this unraveling, right? And what I recommend to everybody that's struggling with their sense of purpose or what they're doing with their lives is go towards what you like. If you are interested in something, it's the same exact thing I did. I was like, I'm really into fitness and I don't really want to work at a mortgage company the rest of my life. I knew that I didn't want the job that I was in, and I knew that I wouldn't be happy if I stayed in it. So I was like, well, I love fitness. I can get a personal trainer certification and kind of just start there. And that's what I did. And that was 5 years ago. And I'm still here, and things are amazing. And I've got this YouTube channel now, and my world is just completely changed. And I don't have that constant pressure and fear and overwhelm with, what am I doing with my life? What is my life's purpose? I don't really have that anymore, because I just went towards what I enjoyed, and I found passion and I found purpose from my experiences and the things that I was interested in. So that's a huge part of lifestyle. And you'll see me talk about those sorts of things a lot here, because it's made such an impact on my life, and I would love to help you with yours as well. So that's pretty much it. That's why this is the channel, Fitness, Nutrition, Lifestyle. Those are the types of things that we're going to cover, and I am so grateful that you're here. Please remember to subscribe if this is something that you'd like to stay up to date with, and I will be posting videos every Friday, FNL Fridays, so keep your eyes peeled. Make sure to subscribe so you get those notifications, and have a wonderful weekend.